Chad Gable has been the main topic of discussion lately based on the notion that WWE is fumbling his booking. I personally have a different approach when it comes to this, so sit back, grab something to eat, and enjoy the video. The main point that people bring up is the fact that he wasn't the one to win the Intercontinental title from Gunther at WrestleMania 40. You see, Sami Zayn was the better person to dethrone Gunther in the long run, because if you were to switch the roles and actually give it to Gable, he would have stood with Alpha Academy and remained a face, and I don't know how I feel about that. To me, he always worked better as a heel and has the look of someone that you don't want to support as a good guy. His heel work has always been exceptional, and exploring a more serious side to his gimmick is something that I wanted to get behind. Chad Gable had the undeniable better story heading into WrestleMania, as his ultimate goal was to topple Gunther for his family. They had this whole angle where he was going to do whatever it takes to win that championship, but then WWE dropped it for months seemingly out of nowhere and forgot about the Gable and Gunther rivalry altogether. He was a part of a gauntlet match in which he was the last one to enter, going up against Sami Zayn. The overall consensus was that he was winning the whole thing to set up the rematch between him and Gunther. Triple H had different plans and awarded Sami Zayn with the win instead. I wasn't the biggest fan of this, but I believe WWE wanted a bigger name to face Gunther at WrestleMania, considering that it was the co-main event of night one. Another argument that would arise is who deserved to have the WrestleMania moment more. Chad Gable would have been the better option due to his history with Gunther, and that would have been a huge career accomplishment to be the one to topple the ring general when nobody else was able to. Sami Zayn was an already tenured veteran who could have easily sat this WrestleMania out and handed it to the guy who earned the spot and worked his ass off to get to that position. This transitioned right into the first feud of Sami's reign. Gable helped train Sami to take out Gunther, and out of respect, Zayn gave him a championship match as a way to say thank you. Gable felt like Sami was sort of rubbing it in his face that he won the championship, which led to him snapping. The best thing that happened to his career was turning heel, and he plays that role perfectly. The heel turn got many fans optimistic about his future and were clamoring for him to win the title very soon. The problem with that decision is that you take away the prestige of the title, since it would be hot potatoed within a month of being taken away from the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in the company's history. Everyone thought that he was winning at King of the Ring because of Bronson Reed's addition to the match, but it didn't happen, which I am fine with because he wasn't the person taking the pin. Everyone thought he was going to win at Clash of the Castle, but he lost, and that was the time that I thought would have been perfect to crown him. At the time, I can understand why there was belief that WWE was fumbling him, but we were receiving some of his best character work to this day, and working in a program with Sami Zayn made people want to invest into him more. He never got this level of attention in his entire career, and this was the first time he had a serious character arc. Alpha Academy was running its course, and it was time for a fresh scenery for the Olympic medalists, and turning heel was the perfect way to escape the grasp of that group. He was never taken as a serious threat, and rather a comedic relief who happened to be an excellent wrestler. Some people would have preferred to watch him win the championship a part of that group, rather than seeing him slowly progress into the heel he is today. I understand people being angry at Gable losing 3 times straight, and I was one of those that didn't agree with it, but in hindsight, this may have been the best decision that they have ever made. Since he lost to Sami so many times, that rivalry was done for and has served its purpose, so his next venture was with the Wyatt Sicks. Nobody knew the reasoning at first as to why Gable was the first target for the new faction, but the intentions were made clear that they go after those who have seemed to lose the value of keeping family close to you. He had this whole story of demeaning everyone in Alpha Academy because he believed he was above all of the losers that were a part of that group, turning on his longtime friend Otis, making him feel less of a man each and every week. Personally, I didn't like how we never really got the satisfaction of Otis kicking Gable's ass during that period, and I'm not settling with what we were giving on that night. A simple shove was just not going to justify the weeks of torture and bullying that Gable put Otis through. The tension between Otis and Gable was supposed to lead to a match, but the rivalry just faded off into the abyss. Otis was red hot at the time, and he was just kicked off to the side in order for the new toys to get their shine. I think the dynamic between the two fell flat because of how long it took for them to make them eventually fall apart. I believe you could have started a singles push for Otis, even if it wasn't going to lead to anything substantial for him. He was extremely over with the crowd, and WWE should have experimented with how far they can go with this. But that is now in the past, and we could talk about what is going on in the present times. Gable is being used to get the Wyatt Sicks over, and many fans are completely against it. Here's why I think it's actually great for his character development. He's getting the most main event spotlight he's ever had before, and it's against one of the top attractions of Monday Night Raw at the moment. This is one of those situations that is a win-win even when he is losing. Yes, he needs some wins, but with his character work, he was able to get the crowd behind Wyatt Sicks, leading to the phenomenal debut of the new faction. Speaking of factions, his new faction, American Made, has loads of potential, and they are just now scratching the surface. The Creed brothers being aligned with Gable has been a fantastic decision so far. They are put front and center in the spotlight and shined in the match against the Wyatt Sicks. Just because American Made lost this match doesn't mean that they have been fumbled. If Wyatt Sicks were to lose in their debut, then nobody would have cared about them anymore, since they would have lost all of their credibility. Some fans really wanted Gable to beat Uncle Howdy, but you need to bring credibility to a character like that in order for people to take it seriously. I believe Gable is going through the LA Knight phase of his career, where he's being put in high stress, high level situations before he is rewarded for his hard work. The difference here is that he actually has stories to work with. Meanwhile, LA Knight was constantly a victim to inconsistent booking. I understand the concerns people have of him constantly losing, but he is consistently putting up great TV, and his development is going to pay off in the long run for whenever he does end up winning the Intercontinental Championship down the road. Hopefully this feud with the Wyatt Sicks has officially ended, because there's really nothing more you can do with this rivalry other than move on. I wonder who the next feud will be with, but whoever it's with, American Made needs to come out with the victory. They need to book them in the tag division, picking up some momentum, eventually winning the tag titles. They can easily revive the tag division on Raw because they are an excellent team, and that could make things really fun. Whatever they do, I just hope this group doesn't break up so soon. The Creeds can benefit massively from this, as they can eventually turn back into good guys whenever Gable begins to attempt to manipulate them as well. But you have to give them a Team Angle type of run first. Imagine the feuds that Gable can have with Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, Sheamus. Those matches are bound to be automatic bangers with potential great stories to back them. At the end of the day, Gable is one of the most consistent performers in the company, and he could pretty much make anything work. Except Shorty G. I believe we will be seeing a complete shift in his booking in the next few weeks because of how well he was able to work with this storyline. If there is something that we have learned about Chad Gable, is that he never gives up and always finds a way to make the best out of his current situation. I definitely see him becoming the Intercontinental Champion by next year, or even venture off into the main title picture. And don't tell me he's too small to be a champion, because we once had Kofi as the top guy, and he's smaller than Gable. One thing we can say for certain is that WWE hasn't reached the full potential behind his character, and all that is really missing is him being involved in a solid program in which he comes out victorious in the end. I don't think that Gable's being fumbled by WWE right now. I actually believe they're doing his character justice, but if you have a different opinion, let me know how you feel about it down in the comments. Thank you for all the support on the videos. I appreciate it way more than you guys think. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Peace and love to you all. We'll see you guys in the next one. Out of here.